Raider Nation, what's going on, everybody? Man, thank you. Welcome to Protect the Shield podcast. I'm your boy, Chris, where my opinions might not always be popular, but they'll always be authentic. So I appreciate everybody coming through today, man. I got a special guest in the building today, somebody I really respect, someone that, I don't know, you have to be under a rock if you don't know about my guy. But I'm gonna bring them out in a second. But before we get to that, man, I just want to say shout out to the Shield Squad in the building. Everybody that showed up. Got my guy Angelo in the building, man. He said, looking forward to this episode. Sanjit is the man. I appreciate all his breakdowns. Absolutely. He is a man for sure. Got Brian Rodriguez in the building. We signed Alexander Madison. Yes, we'll actually talk about that, man. Appreciate you coming through. Got Bernardo in the building. And Brian, new member. I appreciate you being a member, man. Thank you so much. Got my boy, the Ultimate Raider fan in the building. TRS in the building. Shout out to you guys. Jeffrey in the building. Appreciate you guys, man. But before I bring my guest out, you know, let me get this intro in, and then we're going to get to it.
It be that R, it be that A, it be that I, our defense bang. It be that E, it be that R, it be that S on our chest that got us far. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, just wanna be that hater. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders. Give me a stack, I'ma turn it to some racks. LA didn't wanna give us a home, but LV got us on the map. That be a fact, I've let it all on silver and black. Hard Carson and Mad Max got me in, but I've been down since the 90s. You don't want the black hole, homie, don't try me. Raiders roll deep, some say that we grind me, but we bring the revenue every time we grindin'. Third and some, and Wallace done. Renfro caught it, and now he's spinning. Mariota on third, he's sprinting. R.I.P. Madden, all Davis, and all of the Raiders fans that we lost since the beginning. It be that R, it be that A, it be that I, our defense bang. It be that E, it be that R, it be that S on our chest that got us far. We be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, we be them Raiders, just wanna be the haters.
All right, everybody, man, without further ado, I got my guy Sanjit in the building. What's going on, my friend?
What is going on, man? I really appreciate you having me on, Chris. Very excited. Haven't been live in months at this point. Kind of nervous.
Nah, don't be nervous, man. You're the man. So I really appreciate all you do. You know, before I got started, you were one of the content creators that I used to watch for specifically your film breakdowns, and I love the way that you presented. You always present the content in almost like an unbiased way. You just like kind of give it to us and let us kind of digest it. And for one, I love that you kind of focus on the trenches as well, where a lot of content creators don't necessarily kind of have that expertise, man. So I definitely appreciate all that you do. So everyone, if you guys don't know, man, he has the Las Vegas Raiders Network, and he also has the Football Scout channel on YouTube as well. So make sure you guys check him out. But man, let's get to it, man. So first of all, I guess kind of how did you get started in the content world?
Yeah, you know, I think I got a little lucky. I started, you know, before content was really, before people really started making content the way we do now. I was one of the guys that really started a long time. It has been like 6 years at this point, maybe longer. It actually just started from having like that love for football. You know, I played 6 years, so I played for a number of years. I got into college and I realized that, hey, all of these guys are way too big. Right? There's just no way that I'm gonna be an actual NFL player. And you know, realization hits, and from there I just realized that, hey, I'm gonna go ahead and just put an end to the career. I had fun. College things aren't as fun anymore. It turns into real. It turns real,
all day.
right?
It's all day, man. Yeah,
it's just different. So I actually stepped away from football for like 4 or 5 years, and I just did other things. I still watch football, but I didn't make content or anything like that. I didn't play, obviously. I didn't coach. And then after I graduated college, you know, I worked, and then I had some extra time, and I was like, I got to try making content. I got to get back into it. And it just started from there, right? And it took off in ways that I did not think it actually would.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. So I know what you started the like the Raider channel, but what kind of made you kind of focus on just the whole, you just scouting the whole NFL and just breaking down film for a lot of different teams?
Yeah, so one of the things that actually happened was I used to make college content, right? I
Mm,
remember one of the first like college videos I did was like Roquan Smith. He was one of the guys I first created a college video on. And one of the things I noticed that happened was, so I have this Raiders channel and I make a video of Roquan Smith in college because I want the Raiders to take him. But then what happens is he gets drafted to the Bears or to another
yeah,
team, wherever ends up drafting, whatever player it is. And all these fans come over to my channel and like I'll get like 50 subscribers, but slowly those subscribers go away because it's not a Bears channel, it's a Raiders channel.
right,
Right. So and I noticed that was happening at the same time. I have noticed that, and even today, there's teams that are, there's people that don't create, that they don't have people to create content on YouTube for those teams. Right. It's still out there. Like the Rams don't have anyone that really comes to mind for me that creates content. Right. And at that time, when the Roquan Smith, and I realized that maybe I should do this, it was even beyond that. News would hit, or we would see that, this guy is a very, very good football player, but he's underrated. A guy, for example, Damian Lewis, left guard of the Seahawks, just got signed to the Panthers. 2 years ago, I watched him and I said, man, this guy's good. I wish I could make a video of him. Well, I'm not going to post it on my Raiders channel. No one's going to care. Right. So those are kind of some of the reasons why I decided to do the Football Scout channel. And that channel has way outperformed my Raiders channel. All right. The cool thing with my Raiders channel is it's very consistent, right? Every video gets, 8,000 to 20,000 views, right? Somewhere in between there. On the Football Scout channel, I may have a video that gets like 4,000 or 5,000, but I may also get like 50 or 60,000.
yeah,
On my Raiders channel, I usually don't get 50,000 views, right? That generally does not happen. And that's the cool thing with the Football Scout, right? Is like the upside's there for that channel, right? And I don't know if you do this. Do you do this full time? I'm going to assume you're not a YouTuber.
yeah, not yet.
Most people aren't. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm still technically not a full-time YouTuber. I will be soon. My job's coming to an end soon here, but even now, I'm technically not a full-time YouTuber. Most people aren't. It's hard. But being a full-time YouTuber, having multiple channels does help. Right? It kind of allows you to do that.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. That makes sense. What do you enjoy doing more? Is it more the Raider stuff, or are you like kind of digging into some of the prospects before they get well known?
So I definitely like the Raiders channel more. I'll be honest though, one of the things that sometimes happens is, and I'm sure you may sometimes feel like this too, is there's dead periods, and then you're kind of looking for content, and you're trying to figure out what to talk about, and that period always sucks. Yeah, because in those moments, I would love to be able to do this, but it just doesn't get views. Is I would love to just get into like every college prospect that I see that I like. Yeah, I would love to just talk about it. But, if it's not Olu Fashanu, no one cares. If it's not one of the top guys, no one cares. No one wants to see a video on Brandon Coleman of TCU. No one cares. Right? No offense to Coleman, I think he'll be good for player, but no one cares. No one's gonna watch that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely love making Raiders content. I won't trade that for anything, but I also enjoy making content on the Football Scout channel. But I do find the Football Scout channel a little bit more so to be work, as opposed to the Raiders is something that like naturally can just kind of go out there and talk. With the Football Scout channel, I have to do more research. I don't know who every player on the Bears or the Seahawks are, so I have to put that effort in to kind of figure that out.
For sure. No, that makes sense. So just kind of talking about the Raiders, man. So, we had some breaking news, I would say. Right. I guess, we signed Madison. What's your thoughts on that? Like for me, it doesn't really move the needle too much either way. And I'm on record, a guy that really, like Josh Jacobs, was willing to pay even a premium just for his leadership and just what he brought to the locker room. But what's your thoughts on Madison? And do you think do we have enough right now to do that running back by committee that Telesco and AP seem to want?
I don't think we do. I really don't. I'm not a believer of Alexander Madison. First thing you got to understand with Madison is for the longest time, he was Dalvin Cook's backup.
Right.
Right. And everybody was like, oh, this guy's going to take over. Dalvin Cook does not matter. The SDO line is, like people are like, Alexander Madison will be legit when he gets his opportunity.
Yeah.
He got that last year. He gave us 3.9 yards per attempt.
Right.
Right. He did not look good last year. He even ended up getting benched at one point. Right. And I'm not saying that because I think Alex Madison sucks, but I just don't think he's like a true number one running back. If you're comparing Alexander, is he going to be Nick Chubb? Is he going to give us that? No, he's not.
Yeah.
He's an average running back. Him and Zamir White, I think, are both just like they're RB2s. Right? They're not going to give us that type of production. Now, Zamir White has upside. Maybe he develops into something. Right? We saw a little bit of upside last season, but we also saw him in preseason. He was terrible in preseason.
Yeah.
And we saw him for most of the season last year. He had like 30 carries up until the final like 3 or 4 game stretch. And he averaged like, he was terrible. I think chances are Zamir White's not going to be that good, right? I think chances are it's more likely that we're going to see Zamir White struggle if he's our RB1 than him just break out and become a top 5 running back. One of the things that I love with Josh Jacobs is he forced people to miss. You put him out in space. If it's him versus a linebacker, he's gonna juke them. If it's him versus a corner, he's gonna run through them. All right, Josh Jacobs broke a lot of tackles. Zamir White does not break tackles, and he's not gonna break tackles. We're gonna notice real quick. Now, the thing with Zamir White and Alexander Madison is if you build the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line or the Dallas Cowboys offensive line, sure, they'll have success, right? Yeah. Any running back can have success in any scheme, but I hate to say it, but our offensive line sucked last year. It was bad. So as we go forward, are we going to actually fix the offensive line? Right. And we already brought back Andre James, so I don't know how much better we're actually going to get as we go forward. We already have our left tackle, left guard, and center.
Yeah.
Right. Are we sure we're going to upgrade both the right guard and right tackle positions?
Right. No, that's a good point. I'm pretty much spot on that. Because I think a lot of people, when they think running back by committee, they're thinking that we can just have a whole bunch of RB2s and RB3s and just make it work. You still need a number one guy,
right.
That can really be that threat that you can go to. I hope Zeus can become that, but I'm not sold, man. I'm like you. Like I remember the preseason. I remember early on in the season, he did step it up towards the end, especially in that Chiefs game, but there was just a lot. I don't know, man. It's just the sample size is very small, and it's 50-50 right now. So
yeah, it's just we're just not sure, and we're not gonna wait until like week 4 to start thinking, all right, what should we do now?
Right.
It's too late.
Right, for sure. Yeah, so you did kind of talk about just the offensive line. So I mean that's huge. I bringing Andre James back, some people are kind of excited about that. Some are like, indifferent. For us, from what I understand, we're going to run the zone blocking scheme, and I mean that's better suited for him.
Right.
But where do you think we go from here, from a O-line standpoint?
Yeah, so Andre James' contract is really technically just 1 year.
Okay.
I believe it's just a 1-year contract, right? I think we can get out of it and we take a $2 or $3 million dead cap hit. The Seahawks did this last year, and I think we should take the same approach. So the Seahawks took Oluwatimi out of Michigan last season. They signed a free agent center who started last season, and Oluwatimi is going to take over this season. And he was a 5th-round pick, right? And Oluwatimi is a solid-ass center. He's going to be a good NFL player. If I asked you who was the starting center of the Rams last season, right? Not just you specifically, but I asked every single person in the comments. 99% of people don't know who it was.
Right.
And that's kind of the case across the board. Most people have no idea who the Lions starting center was last year. Most people can't even name the Chiefs starting center. He's probably the 2nd best center in the NFL. Right. And I say that because centers don't generally matter all that much because you can get them in the 4th, 5th, and 6th rounds. Right. So I think for the Raiders, the approach forward, and I should be careful when I say this, centers are easily found, but I don't think Andre James is the guy for the Raiders. Right. Yes, I do think he'll be better in the zone scheme, but the run game is only one of the 2 phases of playing football. You still got to pass protect as well. And the run game technically can break down even further. There's inside zone, outside zone, wide zone. Then there's power runs. Right, rather you're down blocking, you're back blocking, maybe it's a pin pull concept. There's so many different variables in the run game, right? So for Andre James, he struggles with certain things, right? He struggles with power, right? We know that for a fact. You put a nose on him, he's going to struggle.
Oh, always,
Right?
always.
In
Yeah.
pass pro, if you're going to bull rush Andre James, he's going to struggle.
Yeah.
And I think for a center, the one thing you can't have in the middle of the pocket is you can't get pushed back. You got to be able to hold your ground. I think the smart thing forward would be to draft the center in the 4th or 5th round. Let Andre James play this year and let that center learn the calls, let the center get comfortable, and let that center then take over. Right? But you got to get a center that's strong, right? So, like, for example, the Georgia center comes to mind. Cedric Van Prandt is he's going to be a very good center in the NFL. Obviously, Jackson Powers Johnson, but I think Johnson will end up being a 1st-round pick, so we're probably out of that. But there's other guys. Matt Lee is pretty good out of Miami. There's a bunch of centers in this class, right? You can get a good center. Florida has a really good center that I would target. You probably get him in the 5th round. He's going to be a starting center long term. I think Andre James has to get replaced, right? And that's not a knock on Andre. I don't know how active you were on Twitter, if you followed me, but when Andre James was a rookie, I really liked Andre James.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I pushed for James to start, right? I was like, hey, this guy's going to have the ability to start one day in the future. And I did an interview with Quentin Miller, and I remember asking him about Andre James. And he was like, yeah, one day he's going to be a starting center. And little did we know, a couple weeks later, they cut Rodney Hudson. Or maybe they traded him. I don't remember if we officially traded him.
I think they traded Rodney. I think he requested to be traded, if I remember right. Yeah.
Right. So, I wanted Andre James to be the guy, but you also have to be realistic at some point. If you're not developing, if you're not getting better and better and better, then as a team, you got to look to replace that guy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm worried to death about that inside. The inside of the line, and I mean, even at right tackle. I mean, and I guess we can kind of like, what do you think we're going to do there? Actually, what do you think we're going to do with pick 1? Do you think that a quarterback is where we're going to go, or do you think we're going to address the best offensive lineman? What or do you think we're going to trade up? What's Sanji's plan? Like, what do you think we're going to do, and then what would you do?
So I think what's going to happen is we're going to stay put at 13, and we're going to take a right tackle.
Okay.
So I think what's going to happen is, we're going to get 3 quarterbacks at pick 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
There's just no way that's not going to happen, right? And then from there, I think there'll be a couple other teams that want J.J. McCarthy, and someone's going to trade up for him. Either pick 4 or 5, someone's going to trade up. I think the Cardinals would be smart just to take Marvin Harrison, right? Yeah. One of the best prospects we've ever seen. Just take him, get that out of the way. So pick 5 and 6, I think, is where someone's going to trade up. They're going to ultimately take J.J. McCarthy. And I think once those 4 quarterbacks go, I don't think another team's going to draft a quarterback. If someone else does draft a quarterback, it'll be late in the 1st round, just so they have that 5th-year option. If it was up to me, I would have traded for Justin Fields just so we actually have some excitement going into the season, and we can at least feel like, hey, there's some upside at the quarterback position.
Hope. Yeah.
And then my plan would have still been at pick 13, just take a right tackle. All right, we got to get a right tackle. We got to be able to anchor on the offensive line. Our offensive line struggled, in my opinion. Yeah. But I don't see a lot of flaws with the Raiders. If you somehow do sign Tre'Davious White, right? I guess there's reports that he's going to come in and meet with the Raiders this week. If you are able to sign Tre'Davious White, you got your 3 starting corners. You got White, Jack Jones, Nate Hobbs, and that's a good enough starting unit right there with the 2 safeties from last year. The linebackers are good. The D-line got revamped, plus Kuntz broke out. Our defense should be set. All we're missing is a right tackle. And of course, we're missing a quarterback, but I don't think we're going to get a quarterback at this point. Like, what the hell are the Raiders doing at this point? What is our plan? Like, you can't really think Gardner Minshew is going to come in and he hasn't done it yet, and he's been with he's been with 3 different teams already.
Yeah.
All right. So, are we sure he's going to actually come to the Raiders? And then is he going to take us in the play? Like, is he going to take us to the Super Bowl? I don't know.
Yeah. No, I'm with you, man. And a lot of people always crack up because I honestly wanted to kick the tires on Russell Wilson just specifically for the financial reasons.
Right.
It just made sense to me, but everyone told me he wasn't going to be good in the locker room or whatever. So that's neither here or there. But yeah, I mean, I know Justin went for a 6th round. From my understanding, I think we were interested in him, but maybe the Bears wanted to do right by him and send him to where he wanted to go. I'm not sure how true that is. I'm not sure if you heard anything about that.
Yeah, so I think it was Ian Rappaport that reported it.
Mm.
I do think that is true. I actually was going to tweet it saying that same exact thing. I think this is what happened because Bears fans are pissed. They're like, how do you only get a 6th-round pick for Justin Fields? The thing is Ryan Poles, the general manager of the Bears, is he's a very good general manager. He's one of the elite general managers, in my opinion, right? He hasn't proven it 100% because he's only been a general manager for a couple of years, but the guy's made every single decision properly. And one of the things I think sometimes is underrated is, you know, when Justin Fields goes and tells his agent, or his agent goes and, you know, has these other players around the NFL, and the agent tells these guys that, hey, the Bears did Justin Fields right. Instead of taking, you know, the 3rd-round pick and sending him to, you know, the shittiest organization in the NFL, they sent him to one of the best organizations for a lesser competition. That stuff's going to go around the NFL, and people are going to respect that a little bit more, right? Mm-hmm. And I know in the grand scheme of things, that doesn't matter for us, but for agents, players, that type of stuff matters. So I think the report is legit. And I think Ryan Poles is a really, really good general manager, and I could see him doing something like that.
Nice. So do you think they're going to be a lock for getting Caleb? 100%.
100%. Yeah, I'd be shocked if they went. I think Caleb's the best. I think Drake May's the 2nd best. I know some people have started questioning Drake May a little bit. I think Caleb goes 1. I think Drake May is going to go 2. I'd actually be very shocked if it's not those two at 1 and 2. I'd be shocked if Jaden Daniels goes ahead of either of those two guys. Okay,
and then you think he'll land at 3 with the Patriots?
I think he will, but something does tell me that, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if the Patriots end up going with JJ McCarthy. I just wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't. I would not personally, but something tells me there's a chance. And now, if Jaden Daniels is there at like pick 5, man, could you imagine what Antonio Pierce and Tom Honcho? That'd be crazy. And I think it's possible too. I do think it is possible. We always, even last year, you know, we went through the cycle of Will Levis, he's the best, or he's the second best. Yep. He ends up falling into the 2nd round. And it always happens every year, right? Because we watch guys, but we don't have like the medicals. I can't sit down with Caleb Williams and say, hey, you know, what do you do against, you know, a cover 2 when it rotates into a cover 3? Where do you look? I can't ask him those questions, right? So we don't have a lot of information on guys. So, but teams will have that information, so they will value quarterbacks a little bit differently.
Yeah. So how high do you value JJ McCarthy as a prospect?
I think he's a 1st-round prospect for sure, right? Okay. And obviously, you got to keep in mind the positional value of a quarterback, right? Quarterbacks, you know, but like if you're gonna say like, would I rather take, you know, do I think JJ McCarthy's like the 5th best player in this class? I do not. There's probably like 30 players that are better than JJ McCarthy in this class, or better prospects, I should say. But I am higher on JJ McCarthy, I think, than like the average person thinks. So, for example, if McCarthy was there with like pick 6, and if the Raiders wanted to trade up for that, as long as you're not giving up, you know, even 2 1st-round picks, which you shouldn't have to. If you're going from 13 to 6, it shouldn't cost you more than like 1 additional 2nd-round pick. Right, because you're not trading up into like the top 2 or 3 picks. I'd be okay with that. I would honestly be okay with JJ McCarthy as the Raiders quarterback. I think he's better than what a lot of people give him credit for, because I don't know why it's like this. I don't know why he kind of gets knocked as a prospect, because he has the ability to create. Now, he's not as fast as some of the other guys, but he can make plays. You know, he's not Aidan O'Connell back there. Like, the guy can run. He can make plays.
That's true.
Plus, he ran a very good offense with Michigan. He's been coached by a really good coach for the entirety of his college career. I think McCarthy definitely has upside. Now, some people love Bo Nix, right? People put Bo Nix ahead of JJ McCarthy, but like Bo Nix been all over the place, you know, and he's much older from how much older is Bo Nix than JJ McCarthy yet? I think there's at least 2 or 3 years.
Yes, 2 years. I think Bo Nix is 23. I know JJ's 21, I think.
Okay.
I think something like that. Yeah.
I would take JJ McCarthy over Bo Nix. I would have Bo Nix as my 5th, and I'd put Michael Penix as the 6th quarterback.
Okay. See, it's hard, man. I know like people in my chat, they're probably cracking up because they know I do not like JJ McCarthy, and this is and this is coming from a Michigan fan. Like I love that he helped us get the chip, but you know, I just feel like he's limited from an arm talent standpoint, and I think that Harbaugh did a good job to kind of
Right.
mask, that. But I won't get into that. But one thing I will say about him, he is gritty, he's tough, he's a great leader. Like the locker room loved him.
Yeah.
So but I can't lie, I do not want him wearing the silver and black. So as soon as he gets drafted and it's not us, I'll be happy.
Let me ask you a question.
Mm.
What do you think is more important? Do you think a quarterback is more important than the offensive coach, head coach / play caller? Like, do you think a play caller is more important than the actual quarterback, or do you think a quarterback is more important than the play caller?
Oh, that's a good one. But to me, I'm always going to say the talent. So I'm going to say the quarterback. But I know a good quarterback, can be terrible with the wrong coach. But then
Right.
I feel like a good coach can't always coach up bad talent. So I don't know. But I'll say quarterback's more important. What about you?
It's an interesting question. But so I would take the play caller over the quarterback, but only because, and I guess it's something that Kyle Shanahan's taught us, is that he could take Jimmy Garoppolo to the Super Bowl.
That's true.
Right? He could take Brock Purdy to the Super Bowl. Right. And I only say play caller because, Kyle Shanahan's probably never going to get fired from that 49ers job. And chances are, if he's with the 49ers for the next 40 years, chances are he'll draft the next Patrick Mahomes. Right. Or he'll draft the next talented quarterback at some point. And chances are they're going to end up winning multiple Super Bowl rings. It's the same way where Andy Reid, we knew this guy was a great coach. We've known that for years. But he always has had guys that he's had to kind of elevate a little bit, right? Alex Smith, for example, other quarterbacks he's kind of had in the past. But when he got that Patrick Mahomes, I mean, they're going to win 2-3 more Super Bowls probably, right? And they're already at 3. And that's my point with J.J. McCarthy as well, right? If J.J. McCarthy goes and plays with Kyle Shanahan, chances are he's going to have success. Now, I know we have Luke Getsy, and I don't think Luke Getsy is Kyle Shanahan, right? So you got to factor those things in as well. But I think it's just an interesting question, right? I don't think there's a wrong or right answer in that.
Yeah, it is. It is. Because it can go either way. I think that Brock Purdy, Shanahan is a perfect example of that. But then it's like you kind of talk about Andy Reid is like he could only go so far with the Alex Smith, but then once you get the quarterback, you get the guy, then now you can, they're limitless at this point. So
right. Here's another thing to keep in mind, right? Most coaches out there, Hall of Fame, you say they're like a top 10 coach. Most of them have only ever won one Super Bowl, right? If that some have never won a Super Bowl, will still say they're a great coach. But the point I'm making is Kyle Shanahan's already been to 2 Super Bowls. He could have easily won one of those 2. Chances are, if he goes with 2 more in the next 10 years, he'll probably win one of those 2. Right? So at that point, he's already going to be right there with the great coaches. Now, Andy Reid's doing something different, which is he's already won 3 Super Bowls. That's rare as hell. We don't see that often.
Yeah.
Right. So to me, it's one of those interesting things where you really got to, can you win with J.J. McCarthy? Can you win with Bo Nix? Can you win with Jaden Daniels? I think it comes down to that play callers, right? It's going to come down to that guy. Can he elevate your quarterback? And I'll be honest, is one of the reasons why I wasn't that big of a fan of Luke Getsy himself, right? Was because of that, right? We saw that he wasn't able to have success with Justin Fields. Now, I like Justin Fields. He does have his issues, but you would think that a coach can coach him, a great coach can coach him out of those. And I'm confident that Kyle Shanahan would have been able to get a little bit more out of a Justin Fields caliber quarterback, but we'll obviously see. Maybe Justin Fields is a bust, and maybe Luke Getsy will be a better coach without Justin Fields, right? We'll see that this season.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm banking on. I'm just hoping that he can kind of, I know he had Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay, but, him being a pass game coordinator there, they had some good years. I don't know if he was actually calling the plays per se.
Right.
But I think he showed that he can give the quarterback, or he can get your star receivers the ball. DJ Moore had a great year last year. Devontae had some great years when he was a pass game coordinator. So I'm excited to see what that can do. But you just never know. You never know. And again, I'm excited about our defense, but the offense still kind of scares me a little bit.
Yeah, the offense, the quarterback position scares me right now.
Yeah.
Even if we don't have a run game, I think we'll make up with it with our receivers. Michael Mayer is going to take the year 2 leap. I'm excited to watch him, especially. I think he has like crazy amount of upside.
Yeah. And Trey Tucker. I think Trey Tucker is going to act up too. I'm real excited to see him.
Yeah.
Just because it seems like he has the right work ethic. I think Devontae said that's his favorite rookie he's ever played with. So it's like I'm ready to see what he can do.
Right. It's going to be interesting, man. This season's going to be interesting. Now, obviously, the quarterback position is going to be the big thing too, though. It's not going to be as who knows, right? Maybe Aidan O'Connell takes a year 2 lead. Maybe he develops a little bit more with his pocket presence. We'll see what ends up happening. It's going to be an interesting year for sure.
No, I agree. So, talking about Aidan O'Connell. So, I always debate with some of my brothers in the Raider Syndicate. Shout out to the Ultimate Raider Fan Turf. We always have this conversation. So he thinks that AOC is going to automatically have like an upper hand just because he was already in the building against someone like a Gardner Minshew. And I push back on that because, I think just Gardner Minshew as a veteran, I think those couple weeks that AOC was in the building is not going to put him above him from a playbook understanding, because right now they're not putting that much stuff in there anyway. They don't probably start doing that until mini camp and training camp and stuff like that. But what's your thoughts? Do you think that just walking into the building, AOC has a slight upper hand over Gardner?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I don't think so. I think the fact that that Gardner Minshew he's been on 3 different teams, so he's already had to learn 3 separate playbooks and schemes and systems. So I think from that aspect, he'll be able to understand it real quick. And now he's going to be with this fourth different team, right? So he has that advantage. This is technically Aidan O'Connell's first time ever having to relearn something.
Right.
So that could be a disadvantage for him. I think Gardner Minshew has the upper hand, especially since he's a veteran, right? So I think it was his 6th year in the NFL.
Yeah.
Plus he started, right? I think his rookie and second season, he started a ton of games. I don't know if he ever started with the Eagles when he was with the Eagles, but then he started this past season with the Colts. I think Aidan O'Connell was at a disadvantage. I really do think. Plus, Aidan O'Connell, we all see it. I know the coaches see it as well. The guy's very, very, very slow. Right. And I think that's going to hinder the Raiders offense. We used to complain about Derek Carr, and we used to say, hey, this guy can't get out of the pocket. This guy cannot create plays. He does not have the legs to in the red zone, a lot of the time it comes down to making plays as a quarterback, right? We saw Derek Carr struggle doing that. Aidan O'Connell was worse than Derek Carr at creating plays, right? Yeah. So to me, that right there is going to limit him. And it's actually surprising that we still took him in the 4th round. I thought that was kind of, looking back at it, right? Not at the time, but looking back at it, the fact that Aidan O'Connell doesn't have that pocket, the ability to create and those type of things, it's a bad pick. It's really a bad pick in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree, especially with the offensive line the way they are.
Right.
And you brought up Carr. It's like the thing with Carr that was frustrating is Carr's athletic. He's a mobile. I mean, he can run. I think he is. He's fast and and he just wouldn't do it. And it's probably because once he got injured, he just wasn't the same guy. Yeah. But I think Aidan just doesn't have the ability to do it. There's nothing. It's like no matter what, no matter how much squatting you do and lunges, you're not going to get fast all of a sudden.
Yeah, you're either born with it, you have it when you're 15 or you don't.
Exactly.
15, if you don't have it, you're never. That's not something you can develop.
Right. No, and I agree. And I don't I think he has some arm talent, but he doesn't have like that Dan Marino arm talent where you can really get away with just or Brady, where you have that lateral movement, where you can. So he just doesn't have. But if he's our starter, I'm rooting him on. But
me too.
It's going to be tough.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I 100% will root for him. But if we do roll forward with Aidan O'Connell, first of all, if Aidan O'Connell and Gardner Minshew are only 2 quarterbacks, I think Minshew's going to win the job, right? Regardless, those 2 guys don't really get me excited for the Raiders.
Right.
I would, if those are our 2 quarterbacks, I would just make the assumption the Raiders are going into the season with the mindset that they're going to just look to get a quarterback the following season, right? Because it doesn't make sense, and I just don't think Minshew has it to win. I just don't see it.
Yeah, I'm with you. So, kind of on that, again, I always talk to people about, the next year's draft and all that, but I really think a guy's being overlooked as a quarterback in this year's draft. Someone that could just sit in red shirt under a vet is I really like Jordan Travis, man. And I
Okay.
feel like I'm the only one that's really pounding the table for this guy, man. Like
Okay.
I keep looking at that week 1 duel against him and Jaden. Having him sit a year, get fully healthy, learn the system, and then get ready to compete next year, man. Because I think if he got medically redshirted, he would be a top quarterback next year.
Right. That's it's interesting because a lot of people have that thought process with Jordan Travis. Draft him, let him sit for a year. Maybe he develops into something. It's definitely possible that the Raiders could do something like that, right? But I think the big thing will be, first of all, is he healthy, right? Like where is he in terms of his health? I know he had was it a knee injury that he had in college?
I think it was ankle. I think.
Yeah,
Ankle
he
or
had
knee,
some
yeah.
sort of leg injury.
Yeah,
But
it
then
was.
I think he also had like a neck issue or something like that he may have dealt with. And he's like 6'1", 6 feet 6'1". So
Yeah,
he's not like super big for a quarterback. Which, is he going to have injury concerns as he gets into his career? And how long is it going to take for him to develop? And then on top of that, is it Luke Getsy developing him, or is it Kyle Shanahan or Sean? Like, who's developing him?
That's
Is
true.
it Sean McVay, or is it Getsy, or so those type of things I think are going to factor into it as well. Plus, how long does Antonio Pierce have? Let's just be honest. If the Raiders go, if we go like we won 3 or 4 games this year, is Antonio Pierce safe for the following year?
Right.
And if he is, then there's so many different question marks going into the season, and I don't know exactly how the Raiders are going to do it. I would hope they keep Tom Telesco long term, and I would hope that I like Dave Ziegler. I didn't think he was absolutely terrible as a general manager. I know he had made a couple mistakes, but generally speaking, I think he did some good things. But I hate the fact that we had to fire both Dave Ziegler and Josh McDaniels together.
Yeah,
and
a package deal,
right? And we had to do the same thing with John Gruden and Mike Mayock.
Yeah.
Right. And I hope that's not the case as we go forward. I hope we really just keep the general manager and the head coach separate.
Yeah.
If Antonio Pierce has to go in 2 years, I hope Tom Telesco is able to stay here as long as he doesn't pass on like the obvious, like the Jalen Carter,
right?
Then reach for like Byron Young and those type. As long as he doesn't do those type of things, I think his job. We should let him, just because this year Gardner Minshew is our quarterback. That could just be a year to tank, right? It really could be a year that we're going to, maybe look into going into it next year. And I'm not saying that that's what we're going to do, right? Because that's not where our team is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And if we start talking about that, it's like at that point you trade Devontae and all that, and and I don't think that's our coach's mentality. That's definitely not Max's mentality. So I don't know, man. It's just I'm going to the draft, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous.
Yeah. That's pretty cool to go to the draft. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it should be pretty sweet. So how do you feel like this free agency is going so far? So we were able to get the big boy that a lot of us wanted. I'm so stoked for that. But how do you think we're doing? I know some people would like to see more activity, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, so obviously I think bringing Christian Wilkins was was a splash move. Was that day 2 we brought him in? Alex, I don't think we did anything day 1, or maybe it was day 1.
No, yeah, I think that was day 1.
Day 1, yeah. Maybe it was like the first hour we didn't do anything, and people are like, "Oh, what are we gonna do?" It was a great start to free agency, right? It was great up until we signed Gardner Minshew, which I think was like an hour after we signed Christian Wilkins. Whenever we brought in Gardner, the thing with Gardner Minshew for me was it made me feel like this is $12.5 million. It made me feel like, all right, this is what our plan at quarterback is. The Raiders have probably realized that Caleb Williams is going to go 1, quarterback 2 is going to go 2, and quarterback 3 is going to go 3. Right. The second we made that signing, it told me that there's a chance that the Raiders aren't going to bring in Justin Fields. We're not going to get one of the top 3 quarterbacks. And to me, that kind of limited how I felt about the draft or about the free agency period. And I love the Christian Wilkins signing. I think it's a great signing. I love the fact that we brought back Adam Butler. I think that was a big one as well.
Me too. Me too.
Now, I wasn't too excited about Josh Jacobs leaving. I think he got like 15 million guaranteed. I think that was like how much he ended up getting, and then his bunch of team options. I would have rather wanted I would have preferred the Raiders to bring him back. We have what, $29 million in cap space right now.
Yeah.
We're gonna get another 26 or whatever happens with the Jimmy G post June 1st. What are we gonna do with $50 million in cap space? All right, I think like 13 or 14 million will go towards the draft. We're gonna have over $30 million in cap space. What are we gonna do with all that money?
Yeah.
Right. I would have rather paid Josh Jacobs than Gardner Minshew. I would,
that's what I've been saying.
So it doesn't make sense, And I think one of the things I hate with the way the NFL kind of is you'll pay Honcho Renfro $13.5 million and everybody cheers it. Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
Honcho Renfro's average ass player. He's not even that good. He was never that good. He had one good year. He was an average player. And then when Josh Jacobs, who's produced, and Josh Jacobs a little limited depending on his offensive line, right? He's kind of struggled a little bit. But Josh Jacobs has produced. If you get this guy the ball out in space, he's going to be a good running back. I guarantee you this year, Josh Jacobs is going to have a career year. I think this year he's going to have a massive year with the Packers. It's a good O-line. It's a good scheme. It's a good head coach. It's a good quarterback, good wide receivers. That offense, the Packers in general, are going to get a really, really good team this year. And I think the Josh Jacobs signing was a really good signing for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
For me, the Raiders, we're now in a spot where we're going to have to draft the running back, right?
We got to. Exactly.
Otherwise, you're going to lack that or like Devontae Adams is not that explosive regardless, right? He's a great route runner.
Yeah.
He's not that explosive. Jacoby Myers isn't that explosive.
Yeah.
Right? We kind of lack a little bit of explosiveness. Now, we have Trey Tucker. We'll see if he develops, but chances are Trey Tucker is not going to be Tyreek Hill.
Yeah.
Right? Chances are he's going to be more so like a Phillip Dorsett type of player, where he'll have good years, he'll have good games.
Yeah.
He'll have big catches, he'll have touchdowns, but he's not going to be putting up 100 yards, 2 touchdowns every game. It's not going to happen. Right. And free agency is definitely not over either. Right. So as we kind of go into it, in essence, what I'm saying is I feel like Tom Telesco's been kind of average. He's been conservative. Right. They're good signings, but he's been conservative. There's a lot of players out there right now that are available that he should look to bring in my opinion. What do you think about it so far?
Yeah, me, I feel the same way. I do. I'm hyped up about Wilkins just because of his motor and the leadership he's going to bring. He's saying the right things. He's going to kind of put Tyree Wilson under his wing. So I'm excited about that. The Gardner Minshew thing kind of threw me for a loop. I like Gardner as a backup because I like his moxie. I like his personality. He's gritty. But the JJ thing really got me. But I just think we need more talent. So I mean, if we did some kind of trade and brought someone in their prime here, I'd be happy, for something like that. But right now I just don't think we've done enough. I know it's still early, but I'm not satisfied, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm not either. Now, I think there's a couple things the Raiders can do, right? Like first of all, if we do sign Tre'Davious White, then I'm like, all right, now I'm kind of excited,
Yeah.
Then there's, even if it's not Tre'Davious White, Stephon Gilmore, I think, is still available. Gilmore was a great cornerback last year for the Cowboys. I know he's getting up there in age, but he's still a good football player.
Yeah.
And you can just look across the board like Patrick Peterson, and maybe it's a 1-year contract. You see what you can get out of him, possibly. Maybe not. Now? There's guys available that you want to get better. You can bring him in. I think Justin Simmons is still available, right? I don't think he signed anywhere, right? I know he's 30, but Xavier Howard's available. If we bring in another cornerback, and then we got to get a guard. That's going to be a big thing for me. We got to get a guard, and there's a lot of good free agent guards. So I think the Raiders should just draft the right tackle with that 13th pick, and then sign the guard, and you got your offensive line. And that guard has to be one of the legit guards. Like, don't get Cody White here. Don't get one of those guys. Get Bill Haynes, get Dalton Risner, get one of those nasty guys. Get one of those physical guards, and let them be next to a rookie and help that guy.
Yeah, we need someone strong. I mean, because if that guy's going to have to be able to help out, Andre James, right? Because oh man, is John Simpson available? I hate to even think about it, but
he got signed. He got
oh,
signed.
okay, because he actually played pretty good for the Ravens.
Right, he was pretty good last year. He started every game for the Ravens last
Yeah.
year, which is crazy because we basically let him go for nothing, right? I mean, Lester Cotton played last year too. We released those guys within like the same back-to-back days.
Yeah.
You know, maybe it was the same day. I don't remember, but like both of those guys are good guards, you know, and it's crazy because I was so wrong about this a couple years back, and I admit when I'm wrong, you know. We had the best offensive line in 2016. Right? Our offensive line was a superstar packed offensive line. 2017, it was still pretty good. 2018, it was still pretty good, but we moved Donald Penn over to right tackle. We got Colton Miller to play left tackle, but we still had those big guys on the inside.
Yeah, Gabe.
Right?
Yeah, had Gabe.
Gabe, Kelechi, Rock.
Yeah.
But then I was like, all right, let's cut these guys. Let's start fresh. The cap hits don't make sense.
Yeah.
And then slowly, now we have Andre James and Dylan Parham struggling, and you know, Jermaine Illuminor and Munford have to rotate because those guys can't hold the right tackle position down. I think having a great offensive line, it's such a benefit to a team, right? And I know at some point you have to pay those guys, and then you got to make those tough decisions. But having a great offensive line helps a quarterback a lot, right? So, like for example, if Aidan O'Connell's going to be our quarterback, you got to have guys up front that can bully people, to make him feel like, hey, I'm protected.
Yeah.
You know, the Panthers just took that strategy. They're spending $33 million a year in guards this year. Just in their two guards, $33 million. That's crazy.
Yeah. They're investing to keeping Bryce up.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. You know.
Yep. Awesome. Well, man, I know we're running out of time, man. I appreciate your time. I know you got to get back to your breaking news and all that stuff, man. But I really, really appreciate you, taking the time to chat it up with me, man. So I guess just my last question I have for you is, so I know you kind of said you want to get a right tackle at 13.
Yep.
Who's your top guy?
So I might be different than some of the other guys. I know people love Joe Alt. I think a lot of people have him as the number one tackle. For me, it's Olu Fashanu. He's my number one tackle.
Yeah, Penn State.
Today his tape might not be better than Alt's. I think Alt has one big advantage, which is he has a great offensive line around him, and he has a great offensive line coach. Fashanu doesn't have that. I think Fashanu is going to be one of the best tackles in the NFL. I think as he develops, he'll become that elite tackle. Movement skills, his technique, the way he anchors, it looks really, really good on tape. He kind of reminds me of Penei Sewell. You know, when we watch Sewell when he came out of college, everything about this guy was really, really good. Yeah, Fashanu kind of reminds me of that. I think Penn State's scheme and system isn't as good. So for me, Fashanu is my number one tackle. I have Alt as my number two tackle. I like both Fuaga out of Oregon State and Latham. I like both those guys about the same. And then for upside, I like Tyler Guyton over. I know some people like the Georgia tackle, Amirius Mims. Yeah, I like Tyler Guyton more. Okay.
So, but I'm thinking Alt and Fashanu is gonna probably be going, I imagine. So would you be okay with my guy from Oregon State?
I'd be okay with him. He's physical. He's tough. He's strong. I like the Alabama tackle too, Latham. I didn't like him early on. I watched him a lot more. He's good too. If it's not Fashanu and Alt, then taking a tackle, it kind of gets interesting at that point. Now, if there's here's another interesting thing. If we get 4 quarterbacks to go in the top 13, that means there's only 8 other picks that have to get picked. We're going to get 3 wide receivers to go. That means there's only probably another 4 or 5. Yeah. Maybe you get a corner. Maybe you get maybe Powers Johnson goes in the top 13. It's possible. Don't count that out. It's a hot take that I'll have. Powers Johnson.
Can he play guard too?
Say that again?
Can he play guard too?
I think he might for year 1.
Okay.
And then I think he'll try because he's remember Quentin Nelson was the last prospect similar to Powers Johnson.
Yeah.
Quentin Nelson was a 6th overall pick. Right. So I think there's a chance. But even if he doesn't, there's a chance maybe the Raiders jump up a couple picks and they get one of the two top tackles. Right. If you're and I think it was Mel Kiper that said Latham's going to be the first tackle taken recently. Right. So maybe he ends up going ahead. So we'll see what ends up happening. I'm okay with the Raiders taking any of the top 4 tackles with pick 13. Right. I would be fine with the Oregon State tackle. I'm cool with the Alabama tackle. Fashanu, love his tape. I'd trade up for Fashanu, honestly.
Yeah.
And then I would take him as well.
Yeah.
I'm cool with those 4 guys.
Cool. Well, Sanjit, man, I just want to let you know I really appreciate you stopping by, man. I could talk ball with you all day, man. So I know you're a busy guy, man. But just real quick, man, just tell everybody exactly where they can find you and how they can see your content.
Yeah, so you can obviously Sanjit T. You see my name right there on the screen. You can probably just Google Sanjit T. You can find my YouTube, my Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. I don't really use TikTok that much, but I'll be posting shorts, the same stuff that goes on my Instagram and on my Twitter. On my Instagram and my YouTube. I'll post it on TikTok as well. And I got a second YouTube channel called The Football Scout. Go check that one out. We'll be doing NFL draft content on that. Yeah, you can pretty much just find me, Sanjit T. Google it. You'll be able to find me.
Cool. Well, I appreciate it, man. Like I said, it's I know we've kind of been talking for a while, man. I'm glad you took the time, man. So thank you so much, man. I'm gonna continue talking to everybody in the chat, man. But thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Absolutely, man. Appreciate you, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. Thanks, man. You take care. Nation. Man, that was a good chat with my man Sanjit, man. You guys in the chat was really showing out, man. I want to be able to catch some of these comments, man. So I know a lot of you guys are talking about, talking about who we should draft. And shout out to everybody that's in here. Clayton in the building. Got my boy SoCal Sal. My boy Jack Ken in the building, man. Appreciate everybody coming through. My 2 cents. My boy Severe Raider. It is what it is. Appreciate you coming through. He said, it don't make sense because the NFL is scripted. You guys are crazy, man. NFL's not scripted. If it was, Antonio Brown would have snitched a long time ago. That's for sure. My boy Leo in the building, man. What's going on? Let's see. Rodrigo in the building, man. Appreciate it. Got my boy Cowtown in the building. Appreciate you coming through. And I'm glad you said that, Cowtown, because I was about to snipe it, but I didn't. Let's see who else we got. We got Rob's Raider recap. He said we got faster at running back. Madison won't get caught from behind, and Zeus is faster than JJ too. I got you. I said, bro, I miss Jacobs. I feel you, man. Let's see, Young D in the building. I appreciate you coming through. We just need to get to a Super Bowl. Yes, we do. Raider Romeo. He said pass on Trey White. Too many injuries. Some injuries was bad. He had a knee and then tore his ACL. Yeah, that was bad work. Done a gun in the building, man. Appreciate you, man. A lot of love in the building. Unfazed in the building. Appreciate you. Let's say Easy BX. He said Stephon Gilmore wasn't a great corner last year. What are you talking about? Yeah, he's getting old, man. He's getting old. I do think he could play in our system for what we need him for. But again, I wouldn't pay that much money for him. He's an old man. Let's see who else we got in here, man. Got Alon in the building. Appreciate you. Sian in the building. Got Primos in the building. Got John Davis in the building. Appreciate all you guys, man. Appreciate you all. Well, guys, man, I appreciate today was just a let's say, what running back do you like in the draft? Oh, me personally, man, I might be a homer, but I like Blake Corum, honestly. Even though he got hurt 2 years ago and he did lose some explosion, but I like his work ethic. But there's no way Jim Harbaugh leaves this draft without getting Blake Corum. I'm calling that for sure. He said Antonio Brown is a defective Android. Tell you, hey, AB would tell all the tea. If this league was scripted, you could believe him and what's my man Chandler Jones. When Chandler Jones was saying that Josh McDaniels is the one that killed Hernandez. trust me, he would have said the NFL is scripted. He would have said everything else. Angelo, man, appreciate it, man. Thank you. I had a good time talking to my boy. I really did. This is Sanjit. He does give an educated word on what's going on. He does. I like how he breaks stuff down, man. He's very knowledgeable. And again, it's hard to find people that really studies the trenches. I think he's very good at that, man. So I really enjoy talking to him. He said, I saw that the Niners wanted Zay Jones and pick 17 from the Jaguars to trade Brandon Ayuk. Wow. I ain't gonna lie. I still like Zay Jones, man. Zay seemed like a good locker room guy. Of course, Leo. He wants that running back from Notre Dame. He is a beast. He is a beast. Raider D in the building. Respectfully, the only reason the Raiders have a hard time in the draft because young talent wants to win. So I don't know. We always have hard time in the draft just because we have the wrong people drafting. We always trying to outsmart everybody. Let's see. Isaiah Davis could be a steal late at running back. He's a dog out of. Yeah, I've been hearing about him. But that's the thing with running backs. You guys always remind me running backs are a dime a dozen. You guys tell me that every single day. They're a dime a dozen. So I expect whoever our running back is, they're going to be a beast. Yeah, Jack Henney. I keep hearing about the boy from Notre Dame. He's a monster. See, Jonathan Brooks from Texas. Jalen Wright. Yeah, I know that's Rundown's guy. I know that's your guy. So Madison. Let's see. Madison, White, Brown, Abdullah, McCormick. We're definitely drafting someone. Hey, somebody told me Actually, never mind. I'm going to leave Turf alone. Shout out to my boy Turf. Let's see. Raiders have been reaching for years. That's why we can't draft well. Here's what's going to happen. The 49ers are going to trade up right in front of us and pick whatever player we're about to pick. Come on, man. Come on. That is our luck. Let's see. Cowtown. If you haven't already, check out small school running back. What's the name? Dylan Luwabe. Let's say extremely underrated back in this year's draft. Very versatile. Has excellent hands out of the backfield. What school is he from? You say he's at a small school. Where is that? I'll check him out. Let's see. The good player. Tell Mr. Davis pass on. Said that Madison pick grinds my gears. Hey, Rundown. I don't want to hear it because you guys told me any running back can make it work. I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear no complaining from our running back room from you. Let's see. Buck, yeah, he's a beast. Let's see that Leatherwood pick in our that did. Let's see. Jalen Wright. Yeah, Jalen Wright. Okay, you say he's from New Hampshire. Okay. I'm gonna check him out. See what he I remember has anybody been talking about with Frank Gore Jr.? I know Angelo was big on him. I haven't heard anything else. I don't even know if did he go to the combine? I don't know. Let's see. Do you think we even need to draft a running back? I like the two we have. What are your thoughts? Yeah, I think we're gonna have to get a running back because I don't believe in Zeus like most of you guys do, to be quite honest. Yeah, I mean, Zeus, like I said, he played good towards the end of the season, but I just need to see some more because it's his vision, man. I don't believe in his vision. I don't feel like he's an instinctual runner. I feel if he sees the hole and can get to the hole, he'll be out because he runs hard, he runs fast. But as far as being patient and finding the hole and changing gears once you get through the hole, I don't know, man. I hope he does. I hope I'm wrong. So we'll see. He said, MF, I ain't say a 7-Eleven worker though. Hey, I don't care. That when you guys tell me running back grows on trees, that's what I think. I think anybody can do it. I think, I think Leo can be a running back, man. That's how I hear what y'all say. He said, tell him, Chris, the committee can't play. They can't. Let's see. Reverse psychology. My first time seeing you in here, I think, man. Said, go get Zeke. I'm cool on Zeke. Honestly, if we go older running back, I'd rather do pause. I'd rather have what's his name? I'd rather kick the tires on Dalvin Cook. I know he gets injured, but I think he probably still can be explosive for a little bit. James Furbo, man, appreciate it. I know, right, Leo? That's crazy. Shoot, man. But all right, man, I'm about to get off here, man. I appreciate everybody coming through, man, and supporting me, man. This was just kind of a one-off. Was able to get my guy Sanjit in the building, man. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Man, I work hard to try to get you guys, some good content, get good interviews and stuff like that, man. I'm just trying to, again, man, I'm still less than a year in this thing, man. So I'm just trying to work hard and continue to put my continue grinding and put good content out for you guys, man. So I hope you guys enjoy it. If you do enjoy, man, hit the like button, man. That really helps the channel. It helps the channel more than you guys think, man. I'm not on here begging for money or anything like that, man. I just want you guys just to hit the like button and share the content if you like it. Subscribe, hit the bell icon. Everything I ask for is free, man, and it takes just a second to do. So, but I appreciate all you guys, man. So thank everyone who came through. Make sure you guys check out my boy Leo, man. He has a show later today, I believe. And then my boy Turf has a show tomorrow, man. Check him out. And Rundown and Turf has one Thursday. I got a show with Spicy Raider Girl on Wednesday. And I got a show on Friday. And then Sunday, we got the Syndicate Sunday, man. So, again, man, I appreciate all you guys coming through. As I always say, players and coaches come and go, but we must always protect the shield. You guys be safe. I love you as usual. Let's get it. Peace.